go through making a basic corking on a flat piece of steel. I've started with inch by half. I've started with about 11 inches of inch by half, which is 28 centimetres of 25 by 12, I believe. I've jumped the toe up and I've put a toe band in it already, just so it's simply a lot easier for me to hold on the anvil. And I'm just going to show you how to run it up, how to set it down, and the effects the anvil has. As you hit your steel downwards, the anvil has an opposing force that comes up. I'm just going to show the effects of that on a corking. So this is my corking, the outside branch. So I'm going to start by running the branch up a little bit, but I've just got to be really careful that I don't nip the mark the inside of my section with the corner of the anvil. If I hit there, it'll just put a big mark in it. So I just start gently around the bit and then move over there. So I just run the branch up, just tapers down gradually, and then I'll set down. That's around about an inch, inch and a quarter. Yeah, inch and a quarter, which is about 3.5 centimetres. So nice overlapping blow, so this branch tapers down gradually, gets thinner towards the heel, and it just gradually opens up there. So that's what you end up, that nice little sharp step there. So when I bend my corking, it's going to bend at that angle there. So this is going to be the corking, and it'll be at 90 degrees to the steel. That edge there, when I forge it back down that way, it'll get to the anvil, hit the anvil, and it'll stop it unwinding. If I didn't have the step in and I flipped it up and started forging my corking down, it just unroll and unroll and unroll till it was too small to make a corking out of. Normally you do that in one heat. You'd run that up, set that down. I always bend them over the bick. If you've got an anvil like this that's quite sharp, I bend them over the bick like that, and then the anvil doesn't put a mark in that leading edge there. So I normally do that in one heat, and then I form it up to a rectangular block. But obviously torquing slows it down and all that. So bend it up to an angle just under 90 degrees. That's my 90 degree angle, and that step's moved just fractionally further up the branch there. That's perfect. So when I come to forge the branch down, it'll move down, it'll get to that little step, and then that step will hit the anvil, and that's it. It won't unwind anymore. Let's see if I can sort of show you, if I can stand down to the side. So that step's nearly there now. That's the step, it's nearly there. That's it, the steps hit the bottom, and all of a sudden it sounds totally different. It sounds really solid, whereas when you normally hit it before the step hits the bottom of the anvil, it's actually unrolling it, unwinding it. So the steps hit the anvil, and that's it, it stops. And that's the point you can start forging your corking up. It takes me one heat to draw out the branch and forge your corking from start to finish. But I've just got to keep breaking it down into a number of heats. But it's more important to show you the technique of doing it, really. So when you're learning to make corkings, it's a slightly different technique. It's more important to learn how to make your corking correctly before you learn how to make it fast. So the best way to do it is try and make a perfect rectangular block that's the right height. The height's the key thing. When guys are learning how to make corkings, they end up getting a perfect shape. That's quite a nice rectangular shape there, but it's far too high for the piece of steel. So firstly you've got to forge it down. Now if I look at that corking there, the inside edge there, it's curling forward, so I've got to forge that curl out. So I can either hit it downwards like that, or I can put it over the edge of the anvil and back it up. So it's nice straight corking there, it's nice and straight, so that gives me a nice parameter to start forging it downwards. When you're judging competitions, you find numerous corkings. You look at the shoe and it's a lovely shaped corking, look at it from the side and it's massively tall because people get scared to hit it down. But if you can forge a nice rectangular shape, the other thing you've got to be really conscious of not leaning your steel one way or the other. It's got to be at 90 degrees to your anvil all the time. So I backed it up a little bit there, and then I just give it a couple of gentle taps down, and that just keeps that leading edge of the corking really crisp and sharp. So that's a nice height, and if you get to that point, it's not a perfect rectangle, but it's quite a nice, clean, crisp rectangle, and it gives you a good basis to form your corking. So next heat, I'm going to forge it over the edge of the anvil, and it depends on the foot or the specimen shoe. Generally a Caulkin wedge is made as a specimen shoe. So if it was for a foot, if the foot was quite a roundy sort of shaped foot, you'd sort of twist your corking round even more like that. If it's a long narrow foot, you wouldn't take your corking on quite as much. So you twist it and then you back that up there. So your hammer's going to hit parallel with that leading edge of the anvil there. And that's going to twist the corking on, the whole corking like that. Because the idea is, when you bend your corking, when you bend your branch, that's where your fullering will start there and there. When you bend that branch around, that leading edge should be parallel with the line that you draw between either the start of your fullering or your toenails. So we're just going to twist this corking on. When you're making corking wedges, always make sure you've got a gap between your tool table there and your anvil, because quite often you've got a step between your anvil to back it up. So we'll hook the corking over the edge. That's at 90 degrees to that leading edge of the anvil there. I'll just rotate it a fraction there. I'm just going to hit with my hammer parallel to this edge of the anvil and twist the corking on. I'll just give it a couple of taps down. So that's twisted the whole corking on there. So that will end up being parallel with the start of your fullering or your toenails. Next thing to do is the fullering edge. Very important when fullering edge, the frog check. Very important to keep that branch not lifted up or anything like that. It's got to be on the anvil and flat to put this frog check on. Yeah, so it's not a bad little corking as it already stands like that. If you wanted to, you could put it in the vise and rasp it up. It's quite a nice shape on top, but the back edge is curved and the front edge is curved. I'm just going to get a little, well, I'll run through it. Whatever surface on the corking you hit, so I'm hitting the frog check, that will stretch. That'll make that longer. See how that bit there is longer than that bit there? That's because I forged it and stretched it with a hammer. So if I want to, from that point there to that point there has to be equal. So both sides have to be equal length. So if I forge that side with a hammer there, I've got to look at it and see if it's longer there than it is there. And if needs be, lift it up and hit that surface there with a hammer, and that'll stretch that. And then every now and again you've got to back it up again, which will get rid of that curl there, and it'll straighten up that curl there. Back it up, a couple of gentle taps down just to keep that leading edge nice and crisp and clean in there. So I'll get another little heat on that and show you how to smarten it up. Right, so we've got to clean and crisp this shoe up, this corking up. It's a little bit tall, the leading edge is rounded, the back edge is rounded, that frog check's longer than the outside edge. So start just by getting it to the right height to start with. So that's about the right height. We'll just go a fraction lower and then back it up. A couple of gentle taps on top. So that's not a bad shape now, but the actual corking's wider than the branch of the shoe. So forge your frog check on, check it. That distance is similar to that distance still. Maybe that distance is fractionally more. So forge the outside edge. That's more like it. The back edge now has got a bit of a dip in it. It should be clean and crisp. That leading edge of the corking should be parallel to that back edge of the corking. That distance from there to there should be the same as that distance from there to there. So at the moment that's bigger than that, and that's got too much of an indentation. So sort that out first. That's got rid of that, and that's really highlighted how much longer that frog check is than the outside edge. So to get that outside edge to match up to the frog check, forge that. And then once you've got your corking, that distance is the same as that, and that distance is the same as that. Leading edge is parallel with the back edge. Just forge your corners off, forge your edges off. Just that's a nice little corking, about the right height there, fairly parallel. Maybe we'll just get another little heat. I'm not too keen on the back edge there, but we'll get a little heat on that. If I was doing it in a competition now, I'd probably just whack it in the vise, and that's two little flicks with a rasp, it's gone. But we'll forge it off. I'm going to try and make it, what I'll do is I'll forge that back up, and then I'll get another heat on it. I'll distort the corking. I'll make the most common mistake people make, and I'll show you how to correct that. Right, we're just going to tidy up this corking a little bit. I didn't like the back edge there, so best way to sort that out. It'll distort the whole corking, but it'll fix that. A couple of gentle taps on top. So that's sorted out that back edge there. Now you can see the frog check is longer than the outside edge by a long way, and the top's not flat. So get the top back to being flat. Yeah, that sorted that out straight away. Much nicer corking. That's distance is basically the same as that. That leading edge is parallel with the back edge. It's about the right height. I've got it sloping slightly down towards the toe, which is ideal. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get another little heat on it. I'm just going to... The thing where most guys go wrong is they consistently forge that outside edge, that frog check edge there, and it gets longer and longer and longer, and they end up with a real long narrow corking, and then they can't work out how to get it. That's a nice corking, and if you're putting it on a foot, you've still got the width of the steel to get your foot into the centre of the section, because it's still got the width, and it's a nice big supportive corking. I'd say that's pretty good really. So I'll distort it and then I'll show you how to fix it. Right, so I've destroyed this corking now intentionally. This is the most common thing you'll see when you're judging a competition or doing a clinic and showing guys how to rectify problems. My advice is when you're practicing corkings, if it goes wrong and it looks a bit like that, never throw it away. It effectively looks like you need to get hot set onto the back of that and chop that off. Obviously you can't really do that, it's not practical. So the faults of this is, it's round on the front edge isn't parallel with the back edge. That distance from there to there is considerably longer than that distance from there to there. So I'll just show you the quickest and easiest way to rectify it. It's also gone a little bit too tall. So firstly I'm going to pull it out the fire. I'm going to forge it back down to the height that I want it. Go over the edge of the anvil and back that up with a hammer parallel to this leading edge there. I'm going to back it up till it goes to about there, which is going to absolutely destroy the corking. The corking will be all over the place, but it'll be really wide, which is ideally what you want, really wide and really squat, and it won't look anything like a corking. Then I'm going to forge the frog check, flip it over, keep my frog check parallel on the anvil so it's not lifted up or it's not down like that. It's got to be sat on the anvil still like that. I'm going to forge this entire surface there to forge the outside edge, then just keep glancing at it. It might need backing up a little bit, so I'll back it up, just tap it down gently there to keep that leading edge nice and crisp. Have a look at it. I might need a couple on there, have a couple on there. I'm going to try and get it back to that nice shape that it was initially. Right, let's rectify this problem. So like I said, it was too tall, so we'll knock it down a little bit, get it over the edge of the anvil, keep backing it up. It seems like it's a bit excessive, but just keep backing it up. A couple of little taps down there, and that's your corking absolutely destroyed. And at the moment it just curls up there, so if I hit it flat down like that with that movement, it would just push the back edge outwards like that. So I'm going to almost drag it forward. So that's nice and flat on the top. I've maintained that back edge and that leading edge. So I'll have a look at it. That distance there is longer than that distance there. So it means I've got to hit the short distance. So there we go, we're getting there already. But you can see now it's still too long. It's just surprising how much you need to back a corking up. Couple of little taps down and have a little look at it. It's still quite a lot longer there. I'll just get another little heat on it. It'd normally be a quick job to fix that, but torquing and steel's gone cold and back in the fire. Right, so I'll talk quick and we'll try and get this sorted out in this heat. That distance is longer than that distance there, so if I hit that distance there, the frog check, it make it longer. So lift it up on that edge. That's going to make my corking a lot longer than it should be, so I'm going to put it over that back edge now. Back it right up. Couple of little taps down, level the corking up. The top of it's flowing back like that. If I hit it down, it'll push that back edge back. So I'll drag it almost like you're pulling a clip. So we're getting the shape back into it now. Keep backing it up. You never, when you're making corkings, you never just constantly stood there hitting the same place. You do a little bit, move your shoe around, do a little bit more, move your shoe around again. So we're going to have another heat on that. I'm just going to get a heat on it and I'm just going to forge it how I want it. It's not right, I need to back it up, get the distances sorted out. But I'll do it without talking. I've shown you what does what. And then, right, this heat, just going to fix this corking now. Back it up, set it down. Yeah, that's rectified it. We've got our parameters are all the same. That distance there, same as that distance. That leading edge is the same as that back edge. It's nice and crisp and clean in there. It's not too tall, it's not too low, sloping nicely forwards. So no matter how bad your corking gets, you must persevere and always make sure you can rectify it, because they do go wrong from time to time for everybody. But you need to be able to get on with it and sort a problem out rather than throw it away and start again.